Hello and welcome back to today's video, which will be a review of Clair Obscur, the video game, the French video game. And for this review, to avoid any copyright claims, what I've actually done is just turned it into a little journaling prompt. So this is going to be my gaming journal, and what I'm doing first of all here is I'm sticking a postcard onto the second page, and that postcard is by Hadrien, who's an amazing artist. You should definitely check them out on Etsy and follow them and buy their stuff. So Clair Obscur is a video game that was produced in France and is quite interesting in that it is an indie game theoretically, but it looks and feels more like a AAA game. It has a round-based fighting system and beautiful graphics and an amazing story. So that's what I'm going to be talking about a little bit today. You can see me working on a collage in the background, and the collage is based on screenshots that I took during gameplay. So what is Clair Obscur about? I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you want to go in entirely without knowing the plot at all, you can stop the video here and go and play it and then come back if you want to. But I'm not going to spoil anything of relevance, as I said. So the game starts with the following premise. The people on Lumière have for the last couple of decades lived in fear of the Paintress. The Paintress is on the other side of a fractured continent, or island if you will, and each year they count down from 100, and everyone under that age on a designated day then disappears, is turned into rose petals in something known as the gommage. And the people of Lumière for the last couple of decades have sent out expeditions to where the Paintress is and the continent to find out how to stop this. And now this expedition is Expedition 33, and we follow Gustave at the beginning of the game. And Gustave is now either 31 or 32 years old, and it's his last year of being alive before he too is gommage. And that's the case for most of the other expeditioners as well. So we have Gustave, who's an engineer and an inventor. We have Lune, who's also an inventor, but more of the mage of the group. We have Maëlle, and Maëlle is the youngest expeditioner in the group. Maëlle is only 16, so she actually, even though the clock is counting down and she's aging, she'd still have at least a good 7 to 8 years left. Don't quote me on that, my math is terrible. But she still decides to join, and Gustave is like her foster father / foster brother. And then there are also other characters. I'm just going to mention Ciel, even though that's a small spoiler as well. She's a happy-go-lucky farmer type and is ethnically vague, I'll say. So there's a good chance, based on the way her character is designed and the tattoos and how all of that works, that she might be Romani. And then Lune is of East Asian descent, but that doesn't really matter all that much in this world. And then they travel to the continent, and I can't say anything other than chaos ensues, and they are forced to then fight a lot of monsters on the continent, monsters that are known as Nevron, and they then try as an expedition to stop the Paintress and run into a lot of very interesting people along the way. Now, if you followed along on screen, you'll see that I've misspelled Clair Obscur while creating this collage. Well, misspelled in the sense that the video game spells Clair and Obscur without the E at the end. So, but I fix it in the end. What are stickers for if not to cover up weird mistakes that you'd make? yeah, so I've added all of these characters and some of the characters I've spoken about as well. So you can see Maëlle there with a different outfit than she starts with. Then there's Ciel there, and at the very end of the video I'll also add a picture of Lune, and then you can see the back of Gustav here in front of the glowing tree. The graphics are of course much better than what my little printer could manage. I was very, very enthralled with the game. It won a lot of prizes. The developers have been honored by the French state as well. They did admit to using some generative AI in some of the game, which they then later swapped out, which isn't great, but given the fact that it's a small indie company and they did really a lot with what they had, I think it can be forgiven in this instance, especially since they swapped everything out in the end. I like journaling for different types of media and for memory keeping, and this is a type of memory keeping along with a media review of sorts, but I'm not going to write any review into the actual journal itself. What I'm doing now instead is I'm just adding, I think, 2 borders in the end. I still haven't fixed the title there. The pen I'm using is from a recent Arch and Olive subscription box, and this color is supposed to be a shade of red, but it really looks like a shade of brown, to be honest. Doesn't matter though, it's still pretty and it fits with the rest of the color scheme as well. But when I add the next border, I think I'm also going to add a reddish color as well. I am going to do more of these video game reviews in the future. I'm currently playing a very cozy game, and I've thought of getting into Stardew Valley, which I can't finish before reviewing it because it's just a game that goes on and on and on forever, of course. But I really, aside from RPGs, and I still need to finish Persona 5, I've really been enjoying Persona 5 the Golden Edition. Is it the Golden Edition? I think so. I am really not good with titles, as you'll realize if you watch anything on this channel, although I do try. So aside from RPGs and the odd strategy game here and there, I really do enjoy cozy games. Now, I've decided to add the sticker. The sticker is not from the game. It's a sticker by Hadrien as well. And now I've kind of ruined the page a little bit because I have to peel it off a bunch before I can place it. But it doesn't matter because I then put another sticker on the other side. And that's lovely. So there you go. Yeah, and I've been thinking of reviewing games in this manner instead of showing gameplay that in Germany and the EU would be a bit of a pain due to the very strict copyright laws. So this seems like the better option. Now this pen is actually quite red, the pen I wrote Expedition 33 with, but on the screen it shows up quite brown as well. So it looks as though I've just continued on with the same brown pen, but in reality this is actually red. You just have to believe me on that. Yeah, so the next game I'm going to be reviewing in this series, which is part of the bigger series, the bigger journaling series, I suppose, is going to be a cozy game called The Bookshop. Yeah, I think it's called The Bookshop. And you open a little bookshop by the sea, and there's not a lot of gameplay. So my partner thinks it's incredibly boring. But I think it's quite sweet and nice and comforting in a way. So I'm now just adding the final touches using this washi tape set I got from Notebook Therapy a while ago. It also has a couple of stickers in it. So I hope you enjoyed this one. And here you can see the final product. I quite like it. It's quite simple, I know. I'll see you again next time.